I think I will get us started here. So this is Ed Crowe. Thanks for coming on today on this Wednesday, throwing us off here, doing this a day early. A few things before we start. So we record all these webinars. We will email you the recording, and that's whether you attend or not. Even if you register and don't attend, you'll still get the recording. We do put the recording on YouTube as well. That's youtube.com/Crowe Medicare, or you can just Google YouTube Crowe and Associates. So all our recordings go up there on that channel, and we will email it out to you as well. So anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about RetireFlo. It's a cool system. It's a system that's simple, it's easy to use, and it's for new and existing clients. But before we do that, oh, and I should mention before I go any further, if you have questions, please send them in. Send them in during the webinar. I'm going to answer them at the end, but sometimes we get done and I tend to abruptly just stop the webinar, I've been told. I don't mean to be abrupt, but send them in during the webinar so your questions are in when we get to the end and I can answer them for you. So before we talk about RetireFlo, I'll make a couple quick comments on CMS 4205F. That's the final rule. It was finalized. A couple things. CMS did clarify a few things on the rule. It's still, there's a lot that is kind of open to interpretation. One thing that's really clear though is an agent, they're going to add $100 to the commission and $50 then on renewal years. What isn't so clear is agents in the states that are higher fair market value states, higher commission states, are they going to stay that way, or are they going to levelize this thing nationally? They have been, since they came out with the final rule, they've been asked to clarify that because nobody seems to know that answer for sure. It doesn't address it. So we're trying to find that out. Regarding everything else, marketing money, overrides, those types of things, it wasn't completely clear and it did contradict itself in some spots. But really, at the end of the day, what matters is what the carriers determine. So the carriers have to look at this, they have to interpret it, and then they have to determine how they're going to operate. And that's all that really matters. I can speculate all I want. We're going to send out an email later this week that has a couple consulting firms that are really big in this space, and they gave their opinion, which was positive. But truthfully, none of that matters because, like I said, at the end of the day, whatever the carriers decide is what matters. And it likely won't be a uniform decision carrier to carrier. It would probably look different from carrier to carrier. So we can talk about it all we want. We can come up with ideas and think about it, but really they're the end result. And we anticipate that they will make decisions in the next 4 or 5 weeks, as soon as this week to the next 4 or 5 weeks. So again, we'll send an email out about this later this week, a little more detail, kind of saying the same thing I just said, however, and that's where we are with the final rule. If you have questions about that on this webinar, that's fine. I'll answer those at the end too, if I can. So let's talk about RetireFlo. Talk about how it works. It's very simple. It's going to be a quick presentation as a result. It's a system to gather information on clients. It helps with compliance, keeps records of everything you've done. We'll then talk about how to set up the account. We do have discounted pricing for it because we're going to offer it as an organization, which gets us a lower price. And then I'll do a quick demo, like 2 minutes, showing you how to use the account. I'm set up and it's easy to set up. If I can do it, you guys can do it. So having said that, let's go to the next slide. So what RetireFlo is it's basically just a URL. It's a system that creates a URL specific to each agent. You can personalize the profile because your URL is a website, basically. So you can personalize the profile on there, put your information on it, your picture. You can, has a few tweaks you can do to it to make it look like your own. And then when that URL is created, and it never changes. So when the URL is created, it can be emailed, texted, or sent to prospects and clients through social media. And I'll talk about what it does, but you can distribute it however you feel fit. You could put it on a website. You could email it, text it. You could put it on anywhere, really. You could put it on Facebook if you wanted. What this URL does is it gathers your clients and prospects information and it saves it as a PDF in your agent profile. So it makes a record of all the information that they provide you, whether you're renewing somebody or whether you're getting information on a new prospect. Really briefly, I want to mention RetireFlo and who made it. It's a young guy, his name's Dalton, and him and his father have an agency in Ohio. The two of them, a few LOA agents, but they have a lot of clients. I think they're well over 15,000 clients just for a very small group. And they created this for themselves to help make their AEPs more efficient. So was made by people that used it specifically for a need they had. So really a smart idea. But anyway, the information it'll gather is for specific to each client, it'll get their medications. It asks for their medications, and they can when they go on the URL and they're answering the questions, it's like a survey. They can put in their medications, and it asks for everything: the drug name, do you take the generic, just like if you're putting it in Connecture or Sunfire, dosage, amount taken per day. You can get doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. As they're going through this, it builds in permission to contact. So permission to contact is built into the system. And a 48-hour scope is built in as well, which is a very simple one, which is nice. They're simply just clicking to put their initials in the sections of the scope. So pretty nice system for that. And it's a great way to be compliant with permission to contact and the scope. They are finishing up right now and having this integrated with Connecture. As we talk today, it is not, but they're well down the road of doing that, and they're finalizing that, and it's in its end stages. So this information, when it's gathered, will have API with Connecture. So when you get this information for a client that's in Connecture, it will automatically update Connecture, which is a really nice feature. So you can use this for both current clients and new prospects. Especially for current clients, it's a really efficient way to gather their information prior to and during AEP. You can use it to determine, so when you send them the URL and they go on it, they have two versions. They have one version that is the kind of during SEP, during lock-in version, versus they tweak it a little, the questions that are asked prior to AEP. And you can use that then to determine if they want to keep their existing plan or look at new plans. They choose. So if they're looking for alternatives, it'll gather the information, you'll have everything you need, and it'll update Connecture. So that way, on an existing book of business, the agent will know, okay, I sent this out to all my clients. I had a bunch of them say, I want to stay as is, and it gives them a notice saying that if they want to stay as is, they don't have to do anything. And you then as an agent can check that off, and that's one less person that you got to contact or worry about to renew for AEP. So it also create a PDF record of it. So if they want to stay as is, it'll be documented they want to stay as is. However, if they want to look at alternatives, they'll say, I want to look at alternatives. It'll ask them a number of questions, not too many, but it'll ask them a number of questions, and then it'll ask them to provide all that information we talked about, like drugs, doctors, pharmacy, and that type of information. It'll record all of that, and then it'll create a PDF in your profile. So when they fill that all out and put their doctors, their drugs, their hospitals, pharmacy in there, you'll have a PDF of that information that they answered and a timestamp on it. What it'll be really useful for, and call me a pessimist, but if you haven't had this happen, then you're very fortunate, but definitely had when you run people and they say, well, you forgot to check this doctor, or this doctor isn't in network, or you didn't, my drug isn't covered well. And come to find out they forgot to tell you about that doctor, or it's a drug they didn't mention. So it makes it hard to check them if you don't know about them. Well, on this, you'll have a timestamp and you can say to them, well, these are the drugs you said you take. These are the doctors you said that you go to. So you'll have proof of what they provided to you. It's also a great way to gather new information for new prospects as well. You'll have a record of their contact information. Like I said, all their doctors and drugs. It'll be ready to go. It can be updated once they're done. It can be API integrated and updated with Connecture, so the information will be in there to make it really easy and quick to quote them. And you'll have a record in your profile of them as well. So I do see we have some questions coming in, and don't worry, I will answer them at the end. So again, it's very simple to set it up if you're going to use this service. You go to basically retireflo.com, you click get started. There's 6 questions you will answer as the agent, and this is kind of getting your account ready to be set up. Once you get to that stage, then you can put in the promo code. And the code is Crowe 40, and it's got to be all caps, by the way. So if you put in Crowe 40, it takes the price from the normal price of $49.99 a month down to $29.99 a month. So it's a pretty good discount for using the promo code. And it's very simple. Like I said, I set it up and didn't really have any problem with it. It took me maybe 5 minutes to set it up. It's quick, but you can put your picture in there if you want. I didn't do that, but you can add a picture. You can put all your contact information in there, your website, that type of thing, logo if you choose. So I'm gonna, in a minute, do a quick demo on my site so I can show you just what it looks like. Like I said, it'll take 2 minutes, but it'll be quick. But the demo I'm showing you right now is based on the non-AEP questions. So it's just kind of generic saying, hey, let's get started, add your information, as you'll see. But they are planning on this year, they are going to tailor questions for pre-AEP, which then will give the client the choice of, yeah, I want to renew as is, or no, I want to look at alternatives. So, okay, then it'll prompt them to fill in all their information. And again, big time saver there, because the more people you get to click on this and fill out the questions, the ones that want to renew as is, again, less you have to worry about during AEP. And you'll have a record of all of it too, which is nice. Okay, I'm going to get to questions in a minute. Let me show you the site, first of all. All right. Okay. So here it is. Hopefully you can still see it. This is my account. You'll notice the first thing is your URL is right here. So once you create the account, here's your URL, and I'll show it to you. So I'll copy the link. I go right there. And it's that simple. And I'm going to run through it really quick with you. I won't put everything in, but so this will go to a client. And again, this is the non-AEP version. So it's going to just say, let's get started. So you click get started. Yeah, I'm at Crowe, as you know. It's got all the disclaimers in it for compliance. It's a compliant product. Put in your email address. I'll do it really quick. And it's going to, again, document and make a PDF of all of this. How familiar are you with Medicare? This would be for a newer client. I'll say I have a pretty good idea. Oh, there was a fun fact. Harry Truman was the first recipient of a Medicare card. I got to talk to him about changing their fun fact because it's the same one every time. It was cool the first time. Put in the name. And it says, let's get started. So it's going to see, you're going to see questions that look pretty familiar, pretty basic ones. I'll say I'm already on Medicare. What kind of Medicare plan are you on? I could say I'm not sure, and they always put it in, and that's okay. So I'm not sure, and I guess that's okay. Address, I don't know. There we go. And then it's going to ask for pharmacies, and this is no different than any pharmacy search you've looked at before. So I'll just click on it quick. You put in the pharmacy name. Search for ones right around here if we want. Oh, I got to put a name, CVS. There we go. Select. So I added a pharmacy. Hit OK. And look at my prescriptions. I won't fill these out. I'll do one. It'll look just like you're familiar with. We'll say that adds on atorvastatin. If you do a name brand drug, it will ask you if you want to use the generic, just like we're used to. Great. So I need my dosage. I'm taking 10 milligrams. I'll take 30, we'll say every month. Okay. Confirm prescriptions. All my information is correct. Doctors. Oh, I skipped doctors. I won't do it, but if you want to add doctors, you can do so. You can put in hospital. I chose Danbury. Primary care. I'm not going to do one. I'll just say okay. And then last, it's a preferences. So I can say I don't mind copays, or I would rather pay our higher premium. I'll say that I don't mind copays. Do any of these apply to you? And checking for other coverage type. I'll say none of these apply. Phone number. And what's my age? I'll say I'm 67. All right, there's a disclaimer for you in there. So like I said, it is compliant to put in the disclaimers. Hit OK. All right, so here's the scope. It's very easy to use. You just initial. I like the signature a lot better than my own. Go with this one. And sign and complete. All right, so it's done. It says, awesome, you're all set. This is going to notify you as the agent that they completed it. It's going to send you the PDF and you'll have it. One thing to note, the scope still is not signed by you. So you do need to sign that scope. It's giving you a scope. They didn't want to do it because they didn't want to have the date on there. So it will give you a scope, but it will not be signed by you. It'll be filled out and signed by the client, but not by you. All right, so let me go back. Now, when I go to my submission center now, there's my link if you need it. But if I go to my submission center, and the one I just did is right here. And there we go. And every time a client fills this out, this is what you're going to get. It's going to have all their information. It's going to have their prescriptions, their hospitals, everything. It's going to be time dated as well. And you have the PDF, and then you'll have the scope right there. Initialed and signed by the client, and they have the initial for every product, which is nice. And then, as I said, the signature is not completed by the agent, so that's just something to note. Let's see. So submission center, here's where you would set your account up. It's easy. I mean, it's very simple stuff. And then the resource center is just a variety of things. How to set it up, you know, how to enhance online presence, how to send the link out, you know, some pretty basic stuff in there. So in a nutshell, there is the program. I think it's a simple one, and I think it could be pretty useful. I liked it when I saw it. And like I said, the integration with Connecture is going to be really nice. So that will make it pretty useful, in my opinion. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. And I'm going to try to not abruptly end the presentation. Question, do you think it will eventually integrate with Sunfire? Yes, I think it will. I think I would assume that they're probably already having those conversations. In fact, they are. So yes, to some point it will. Is there a video we can look at to see this program in action? Yes, there is. When we email it out, there is a demo video that you can, and there's a demo video. If you go to retireflo.com, on there is the demo as well. What would be cool is if this information could be sent to an enrollment site such as Sunfire, and then have plans local to them that accept their RX and MDs be presented. I agree. I think that would be really cool. I've talked to Dalton a number of times. Ultimately, he's a Medicare producer, young guy, Medicare producer, who's been in the business with his dad for a long time. So he's aware of these things too. And that's what's nice about this, is he knows all the things that would be helpful. So that might be something that they would like to do down the road. But as it stands today, this is really just made to try to make AEP more efficient, and really to help with compliance and help gathering information when it comes to something like a complaint, so you have proof of what they provided you. Can the agent then sign the scope in the submission center? No, not right now. Right now, it's basically, you'd have a scope that would need to be printed. Does it integrate into the Connecture scope of appointment, or does it have to be printed, signed, scanned? I think right now, I don't know that answer. So you got me on that one, Jim, but I think right now it's just got to be printed and signed. The scope, they may be integrating the scope with Connecture, but I did not ask them that question. So I'm not sure. I know right now their focus is on the integration of the client information into Connecture. We can add this URL. We can add this URL to our email signature, right? Yes, correct. You can add the URL anywhere on a website, your email signature. You can email it, text it. Yeah, it's URL, so you can do anything you want, including putting it on a site if you chose. Do we have any other questions? Happy to answer them. If you have any, I'm going to wait around here for a few minutes and see if we get any more that come in. We're going to email you information out. If you're interested in RetireFlo and looking at it more, we're going to email information out to you. Like I said, use the promo code. That's the Crowe capital letters 40. The promo code, once you enter a bit of information, you answer a few questions on getting started, then it gives you the option of putting the promo code in, which will lower the price, the monthly price of it for you. Doesn't look like we have any other questions. Oh, somebody said they like it. They think it'll reduce the work needed during AP. I agree. I think this can help a lot during AP. Similar to many of you on this call, AP is a bear. It's a lot of people, especially today's day and age. Now everybody seems to want to run, even if they're just a PDP, they want to run their drugs in C, or they want to look at different plans. I think this can help a lot with that. I thought it was a really great idea. And like I said, they initially used this for themselves. So I think they made it pretty simple and functional. I think that's all we have for questions. I know if you have any, feel free obviously to reach out to us if you have questions on the final rule. But like I said, I think really at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the carriers and what they determine. So they'll make their determination, and that's what it's going to be. So right now it's a sit and wait kind of thing. Well, I appreciate it coming on. We will email information out to everybody. If you have any interest in this, we'll have the links and the information in there as well. And hope everybody has a great week, and hope to see you on a future webinar. Thanks.